let's talk a little bit about Jennifer's second question here.
Mhm.
Was sex a topic of conversation? Which you kind of answered a little bit, but dive in a little bit more in regards to like community and culture. That part right there resonates with me, where I'm like, culturally, how do we talk about sex? I think.
Okay, so I'm 100% Haitian. That was never a conversation in my house. Period. Okay. So like it was never discussed. It was only mentioned when I got my period. Got my first period. My mother and my sister said, you know what? It's time for you to be careful now around the boys because you could bring home a baby. And I'm like, well, how does that happen? Do they touch me? Do they sneeze? Like, you, how do I bring the baby off of me having my period? Like, you're not making these connections for me. So it was very Bridgerton. If you ever guys watch that on Netflix, that I
You
like
know it.
absolutely related with that. So yeah, it was never something that was in our community or talked about. So I think a lot of that also too, because I know how you like to get a little deep. I think a lot of my sex stuff got manifested after the death of my mother. I think that was like one of the ways that I started to cope with things. And so I just, and I have older, women who are cousins. So I would start to hear their shit. And I'm like, oh, girl, what? We gonna look this up. So a lot of that stuff was never really talked about, but I would hear it here and there. And then I started to do my own research.